We are live.
Phew.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Thirsty Topics TV show. I'm Lawrence Elrod.
And I am Meryl Climo.
We have some incredible stuff to talk about this week. Oh, my goodness.
Woohoo!
I think we're going to jump into it with I guess it's over. I'll let you go
Oh,
ahead
it's
and go into it.
over. I know. Unless we're talking about politics, and that's over too. we can say that about a lot of things here in this world, but it's over. Yes, I was going to let you have. I feel like this is our joint one for both of us because it's such a big news. But J Lo filed for divorce from Ben Affleck, which was 2 years after their Georgia wedding ceremony. Which I feel like that came super fast, but yet I also felt like it had been like 10 years of them saying they were unhappy, the second go around.
Mm-hmm.
J-Lo filed documents at LA County Superior Court on August 20th, and she waived her claim to spousal support and asked the judge to deny Ben the same type of payment, according to TMZ. Now, this is super exciting, or, not exciting, but interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but it says the pair did not have a prenup agreement.
Wow.
I know an insider told NBC News, meaning that the money earned by Affleck and Lopez since their 2022 marriage in Las Vegas is considered community property between the couple. So, like, I feel like there has to be some type of reason or other agreement that happened, right? Like,
I am very shocked about that they don't have a prenup.
I know. Yeah, so they said, like, it just, um, people think that maybe they're just both like they each had their property and assets individually going in. So I was listening to some lawyers say even though there's not like an actual marriage prenup, there's probably other documents that they signed like individually with like J Lo just saying this is my house, this is my company, and like they might not have anything mixed to even divide up.
Yeah, I think we're going to find out whether it was a joint type decision or if it's one or the other. If it's quiet and they quietly go ahead and divorce, there's no issues, then we know it's mutual. If there's a serious fight, then we know that something happened
Yeah,
that triggered it. That's where not having a prenup with that kind of wealth would be a problem.
exactly. I'm surprised that they didn't wait a little bit closer to the like main elections to kind of sneak this in because I mean this is somewhat good timing because I think people are focused on like the Blake Lively drama that we talked about last week and then like the more of now starting to talk more and more about politics and like that's kind of creeping back in a lot. But I feel like J Lo and her people are so calculated that you would think, I don't know, I would think that they would announce this closer to like October or November, but maybe they just wanted to get it out of the way before people like talked about it even more.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing about this whole thing is um, I read the article and everything, and J Lo's been married 4 times.
Yeah.
And they were together twice. One time, they didn't get married. They broke off
Yeah.
and then went, married other people. Now they're back together, and now they're divorced after 2 years. So it's kind of like this weird thing of what's really going on. Granted, Hollywood marriages tend not to last. Okay,
Right.
granted, we'll give it that. But I don't know. Do you think there's something else going on here that
No, if anything, I think I've had people like this in my life too, where like you almost feel like your time is cut short when you date, and then you like date other people. It's not the same, and you're always thinking about that one person. But then when you get back with them, you're like, oh, that was just an illusion. We're not really meant to be together. Like it's better off we broke up the first time. Um,
Mhm.
I don't know. There's a part of me that sounds crazy, but I think they're gonna get back together in their 70s.
you know, I would normally say I don't think so, but something tells me that this may just happen.
Me too. It seems like there's like some weird magnet that's kind of pulling them apart. Or sorry, I
Mm.
mean pulling them together, but then also drawing them apart. Um, but I have no clue like what's going on with Ben Affleck. He just seems so like disheveled and downtrodden, like every time we've seen him, especially with her. So like I hope if he was miserable because of this marriage, I hope he gets happier. But like I don't know, he just seems like not as happy as he should be for his situation.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Um, Being that this is their second time around, I would have thought they would have lasted more than 2 years. Um,
Yeah.
Again, maybe not surprised at divorce. I'm just surprised that it only took 2 years for a divorce.
I know. Okay, if you had to be like Caddy and give your speculation, what do you think it actually like went down? Like, what do you think? Do you think it was just like a clash of personalities, or?
My personal opinion is that you have um, two people that are well into their adulthood.
Mhm.
They've been on their own for so long, in and out of relationships. Call me crazy, but I think it's probably a situation where one or both of them do not know um, how to cooperate and how to give in. Because if you're
Yeah.
set in your ways, it's very hard to be in any kind of relationship.
Right. And compromise. Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
And they both probably, it's probably a mixture of like maybe Ben doesn't want all of the attention that this coupledom brings, and like, J Lo has been trying really hard to stay relevant and stay in the limelight.
Hmm.
I think you're in my first recording. We talked about like I still kind of feel bad for J Lo. I feel like she's having a tough year, and like even though she could be nasty or whatever, I still feel like I don't know. I feel bad for her. I feel like she's kind of like flopping in a lot of ways. I feel bad.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing is when you're a celebrity and you go through stuff like this, I think it makes it 10 times harder because the whole world is watching you now.
I know. And I feel like she really did love him. Like,
Yeah,
I think she really does love him. So it's probably really frustrating for both of them.
that's true. Well, we'll definitely keep our prayers up for them.
We will separately. I found a fun tidbit too when I was reading about their prenup. I
Hmm.
read something that just for you, because I know you're a Trekkie, that they were talking about prenups in Hollywood marriages. And they said when Star Trek writer Gene Roddenberry and his wife divorced in 1969, Star Trek was like an obscure TV series, but then it became like this big cultural hit. And
Hmm.
then his ex-wife famously went back in court to try to be like, wait, that's half of my money too.
Really?
Yep. So it just goes to show. We want to make sure your wife knows that if the Thirsty Topics becomes like a worldwide phenomenon, isn't that so?
My wife.
He had to give a share of basically Star Trek, even though like when they were together, it was a really unknown TV show. But then it got huge, and she went back in court and was like, you know who did that as well? Like
And
that
she actually won after the
I
fact.
think she got, yeah, she didn't get like 50%, but I think she did get a small settlement. And I
Wow.
think that happened also with Channing Tatum and Jenna Dewan. I feel like she at least tried to go back into court and get a lot of the like Magic Mike money, and like
Wow.
yeah, it's kind of weird. I feel like once you get divorced, like you're done.
Oh, exactly. Exactly. Wow. Talk about weird. This gentleman, his name is Ronald Jackson. His story is he got married to another woman and he had a daughter from a previous marriage. So the daughter, I guess, was texting some really mean things to her stepmother, his wife. So as any normal parent, he took the phone from her.
Yeah.
Well, the ex-wife called the police on him to press charges for theft.
Whoa.
Now, to me, this is wrong on so many different
Yes.
levels. Um, First of all, she shouldn't be sending nasty things to her stepmom, period.
Right.
Okay. Um, yes, I get it. You don't like her, she stole your dad, whatever the case may be going on in her mind, that's still not appropriate. But then to have the ex-wife say, well, I paid all this money for this phone, that's not his phone, you know, he's disciplining his child. And to me, what you're setting up is you're setting up the situation to where if the father disciplines her, she's gonna go run the mommy. That's
Yes.
what
Yes.
that's setting up.
Definitely. I also wonder who owns the phone, because I could see that also being like if he pays for the bills and he like maybe the phone is also under his name too, then I feel like that's not theft, because if you want to get like real nitty gritty, that's like almost his property too, you know?
Well, the wife I guess, technically bought the phone for her daughter.
Oh, okay. So, like, I wonder who they're gonna say it's stealing. I mean, I guess yeah, they're stealing from her. To me, if I was a judge, I would be annoyed that this even brought like this is an example of like tying up the court, you know?
And actually, the judge actually instructed the jury not to find him guilty
Really?
after all of that. But I guess to me, my thing would be okay, no problem. You want to play this game? Anything your mom buys you, do not come into my house. We'll just keep it
Yeah.
really, really simple.
I
And
feel like
then,
yeah.
and then what I would do too, and this is probably mean, I'd be like, okay, sis, you want to play that little stupid game? I'm gonna get you a phone when you're over here. I'm gonna get you a flip phone.
That's true. And then like good luck texting anyone in like the old letters. And what if the stepmom like countersued for slander? I think that'd be really funny. Like or harassment almost.
I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like when I see stuff like that, I kind of think that maybe the ex-wife is jealous of the new wife
Yeah,
because
I think so too.
this is just so petty and just stupid. To me, it's just stupid.
Yeah. And it should be like then I feel like if they found him guilty of theft, then that creates a whole cascade of parents that like take their kid's phone away as
Hmm.
punishment. And maybe it's not the best form of punishment, or maybe it's a little extra or whatever, but it's not. I don't think it's illegal.
No, no. And like I said, after all that, he wasn't found guilty. So it's like to make him go through all that. When they actually came out and arrested him, put him in handcuffs, took him down to the jail. He had to get processed, just over silliness.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is there's some fathers that unfortunately when they meet someone new, and I think this is so wrong, they don't pay attention to their kids.
Right.
So when you pull some stuff like that, it could backfire in a bad way where the father may be like, you know what, I love you, but it's just not worth it. Go
I
away. Don't ever come
know.
around me again.
I've heard that a lot of times on the flip side too, of like young boys where their mom meets a new guy and the new guy is like casts away the younger, the son.
Hmm. Hmm.
Now, have you ever, when you disciplined your son, have you ever taken away his phone or like phone privileges?
I mean, when he was a kid years ago, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
just normal, yeah. I mean, to me, that's just normal parenting.
Yeah.
I mean, because let's face it, sending your child to his room today is not like it was when we grew up.
Right. I'm
They
like,
got
I'd be in my room. Yeah.
they got the TV, they got their PS5 or whatever, they got their phone. It's not the same thing.
Right. Yeah. I'm like, to me, that sounds like a vacation.
That's
And
true.
even if I got my phone taken away, I would just like have to like, yeah, I'd somehow be able to message my friends through my laptop and be like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I just pray that girl's all right, and she's gonna find out later in life how dumb that decision was too.
Yeah. And that's a deeper, you're right, that's a deeper issue where like maybe the girl and the mom and the stepmom need to really like go to some therapy together or do
Mhm.
some, it's like if there's a lot of misgiving in the family or like bad feelings, then that should be talked about rather than just texting mean things.
Exactly, exactly. Let's just hope they sit down and talk.
Yeah. Okay, well, this is perfect because this is right on the subject. So hopefully you have not done this trend yet because you're too sweet and nice, and I don't even want a robot to talk badly about you. So I thought this was so funny. I've been seeing this trend of people submitting their Instagram feed or like, a few screenshots of their grid to Chat GPT, and then it says roast me, and then Chat GPT is like, okay, this is what you look boring, your Instagram looks boring, all this kind of stuff. I've seen it very bland so far. Like the most I've seen is just like, oh, it looks really basic. And some of my friends have been posting it. I think it's really funny. And then I submitted my Instagram feed, and I just want to
You
give you a
did it?
yes. Wait till you hear that. And I just want to give you just a short. I won't even delve into all of it because it's so unbelievably bad. Like I was like, oh my god. Basically, like I feel like it dove into my psyche of what I like, the worst things I think about myself, and it somehow knew all of that. So I'll just give you like a
Wow.
highlight reel. and I only sent it like the last maybe like 12 photos. So ChatGPT wrote, Meryl, your Instagram feed is like the digital equivalent of shouting into the void and wondering why only your mom and one dude from high school cares about your posts. And then it said, comedy promo overload. Let's start with your flyers. It's a desperate cry for validation.
Oh
You're
my.
giving, please don't make me go back to open mics energy. And then it's like you're smiling through the pain. It's giving holding it together, but you probably cried in your car.
Oh my God.
And it goes on and on. I'll like it says your grid has the cohesion of a late night fridge raid. Oh, the funniest thing was that it said, wait, where was the funniest thing? It was like, okay, the desperation is palpable. Every post screams, pay attention to me. It's like you're one unfollow away from sliding into everyone's DMs with, hey, remember me? Spoiler alert, we know you're there. We just don't care.
Wow.
I was like, who is behind my AI? Because I have not seen it be so unbelievably mean.
Oh my goodness. I didn't do it. I read the article. I don't even like seeing a roast on TV. I'm just not a big fan of
Really?
that. Yeah, I'm just not a big fan of that, because I know
Yeah, I like
sometimes
it.
like the roasts get, kind of a little bit deep. You
Yeah.
remember they did the one for what was it? Was it Tom Brady? I think it was.
Oh, yeah.
And they kind of comment on his ex-wife,
Yeah, leaving
which I
him.
thought was a little bit on the low side there.
Mhm.
And what was so crazy about that roast was, they had made a comment about the owner of the team that he played for. And, he kind of checked him on that, about, okay, that's enough. And I'm like, okay, so you check him on that, but it was okay for them to say something about the mother
Yeah.
having a child.
I remember that. Yes. And then it's and like everyone, I mean, I really like roast. And to me, I kind of always know what they're going to talk about. I feel like it's always like weight or like someone leaving you, or if you go bankrupt,
Mhm.
like you could pretty much know what the main things people are going to like rag on you for. But but ChatGPT is like, I feel like it really does think like a human, where it's like, okay, what's the worst thing I could say about this person's Instagram? And that is so
Mhm.
funny that it says I was smiling through the pain.
Wow.
Yeah, and like all the other ones that I saw of my friends were just like, you post too many flyers. And mine was like, you definitely cried in your car, you stupid idiot. Like,
Wow. Hey, you know what? If people like it, I love it.
yeah, I kind of liked it. And then I got into a fight and I just said, like, I wrote back and I said, you're a stupid robot. I'm gonna unplug you.
Well, the good thing is it didn't reply back. That would be scary if it did.
It did reply back. It said, okay, I'll see myself out unless you want me to remove myself from your MySpace top 8.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so stupid. I'm like, this is how I spend my time. Not very good, but
Wow. Interesting. Well, talk about interesting. There is this couple, and I want to get your opinion about this.
yeah,
They had this idea that they're going to charge family and friends $450 per ticket to go to their wedding.
crazy.
Um, Personally, if a friend or a family member did that to me, I won't be going to that wedding. I think they're out of their fucking minds,
Yes,
you know. And to me, it's like, they were saying in one post I read that they spend about 100, 200,000. Weddings are expensive, and my reply would be, maybe you shouldn't be having that wedding because you can't afford it.
right. Like have it in the backyard or have like 20 people for dinner. And
And
that
what's
doesn't
up?
like, that doesn't include like a helicopter ride and like a night somewhere, right?
And what's so crazy about it too is someone made a good point is that doesn't include a gift because they probably still want a gift.
Oh yeah.
And if it's a destination wedding, it's very expensive because you got to get there and get back home. And to me, people live out of their means to try and have this fantasy land and go into debt from a wedding.
Right.
Now, if you're going to spend $100,000, $200,000, I can see spending that on a house. I can
Yeah.
see
Yes.
investing that into a business or investment. I could see all those things. Into a wedding, I think is stupid. I know there's a lot of brides out there that's going to hate me for saying that, but I think it's stupid. Now, if
No,
you have the money,
yeah.
totally different thing. But 99.9% of the people don't have that kind of money.
I know, and I feel like both things where if you're asking people to spend $500, like that's not a very, very, very wealthy thing to do, you know, like but then also, and then if you're asking people that may be like middle to lower class, then they like in this day and age, in this economy, like that, I don't know most people, including myself, that would randomly just have like an extra $500 sitting around to spend, you know. So either way, it's kind of weird because I feel like this doesn't seem like if you're wealthy enough, then you just are able to cover your own wedding. Mm-hmm. And like, who on earth is asking you to have a 200,000 wedding? Right. You know, like, and to me, that would have to 450 would be like, okay, we're gonna get you the nicest hotel. You're gonna have like a Michelin star dinner. Like, you know, they would really have to like turn it up.
And you know what? If it was a package deal for that 450, I may not agree with it, but I can see that. But just to attend the wedding, no, that's crazy.
I know. Because when I was reading about this, I read about a different one who like in the wedding, I think it was $300. And in that you got like a sightseeing trip to New York. You went to a game, a baseball game, and it included like all these other things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, if it's just the paying $450 to go to watch someone else's very expensive wedding, that is so weird. I would love to know like their guest list starting out and then who actually attends.
Actually, from the article, take a wild guess how many of their family and friends purchased tickets to their wedding.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm going to guess that they invited 200 people, and I feel like 50 said yes. No? Higher or lower? Zero? Not even like a sister or like a wealthy aunt?
I guess not, because they were like, well, you know, people spend money on all this and all that. They spend money on parties, but they can't spend money on a wedding. Okay, I get it, but yeah, ain't too many people gonna be shelling out no $450.
Right. And like you said, like I would be so much more. I mean, I don't think asking for $450 at all is like a good idea for anything, but I would much rather give like $200 if I knew it was going to help people buy a house and like they were having a very low cost wedding to try to save money for like, you know, a car, a business, a house, like what you said.
And you know, the thing is, you know, most people know you should give something when you go to a wedding. Yeah. And a lot of people give like $100 a person on average. Some people do 50. It depends on their budget. And there's some people that, you know, they're doing well in life. They're going to give you more than the average anyway. So it balances out.
Yeah.
But if you have to have $450 a person to go to your wedding, to me, you can't afford your wedding.
Period. Right. Yeah. And that's just so weird to lean on like the other working people around you. Like that's like, it's saying, here's a wedding. We can't afford it, but we're just going to do it. It's very entitled, I think. You know, it really is.
I agree. I'm curious if you had a family or family member or friend say, hey, Meryl, you're invited to my wedding, but, you know, for you and your boyfriend to come is $450 a person.
No way. I'd Venmo them like $12 and say, here you go. Just I'd say feed me like Kraft mac and cheese and we can go stand in a forest somewhere. That's it. That's it. So no, I would not say that. And luckily none of my friends are crazy and delusional like me, but luckily not in that kind of way.
Talk about crazy and delusional. Ooh, let's talk about this topic coming up.
Oh my gosh. Yes, this is so good. Well, I was just going to say too, I have a friend going through a really funny, almost like a Seinfeld episode now where she just had a wedding. She was a bride. She did not charge people, but she has one friend who like came to the wedding, but then she doesn't think the friend brought any gift. But my friend keeps on like asking the bride keeps on asking questions to try to like get an answer. Well, she'll say like, we're sending out thank you notes. Like, what should I thank you for? And the friend is like, keeps on evading the question. And so it's like growing and growing into this big thing where now the bride is like, I didn't care at all. But now I'm like, she's either lying to me or she's omitting something. Like, I think that's so funny.
Or depending on how close they are, just say, okay, just tell me the truth. You didn't get me anything. Just
exactly. Yes. But now it's turned so weird because my friend has asked in like 8 different angles to try to get it. Now it's just becoming weird. But okay, well, this is definitely more of a marriage type thing that I could get behind. And it is the husband calling competition, which I think is so hilarious. It's at in Wilson County at the Tennessee State Fair. Now, this is like we probably have seen clips of the Tennessee State Fair over the years because it has mom calling too, which has gone really viral. You know, like kids calling their mom and just in different ways. I think that is so funny. And now they have husband calling, so it's wives standing up on stage calling their husbands, almost like they would if they were in a different room and they needed their husband to come in. And some of it is so funny where like they call them very nicely. One woman screamed like Jeff supper in just the most like wife Tennessee type of way. And I love hearing like the women being annoyed at their husbands too. What one screamed, Henry, get in from the field. Like, and so women are just shouting like get the snow shoveled. One person won the first place ribbon who was like, you know, the biggest shouter of them all. And I think to me that is like so silly. And I was going to ask, does your wife like if you're in a different room and she calls you, is it always the same kind of like bellowing or is it different?
She's very good at yelling at me from upstairs. Yeah. I could be sound asleep. And you know, the funny thing is she'd be like, oh, you asleep. But she knows how to wake me up with her voice.
Really? What did she say? Yeah. Like, Lawrence?
Mm-hmm. Lawrence. And she'd be all the way upstairs. And I can't, and I hear her yelling, and then she's telling me something. I can't hear what she's telling me, and so she starts yelling again. And then I'll call her, and you know, she doesn't like when I do that. I'm like, okay, what do you want?
Really? That's so funny. My mom will do that. So my mom will be like, Ken, to my dad. And like the way she says Ken, I'm like, that's so annoying. Stop calling my dad like that. Like, it's like this like shrill, not shrill, but it's like, I don't know. Like it's stressful for no reason.
You get used to it after a while though.
Yeah. See, I feel like I'm the opposite where like, I don't really like call Jack into the next room, but he does it with me. I know I'm in trouble because he'll be like, Meryl. And usually it's like I've eaten something of his and he's mad about it. But I think the competition is super funny.
It is. There were some very unique calls, let me tell you. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and I love when they hold it for a really long time.
Did you see that one woman that held it? It seemed like she held it for like 2 minutes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Now, that probably would irritate the hell out of me, though, the way she called it, because it's like, okay, I'm coming, stop.
Yeah, it's very stressful. It makes people feel like it sets you in like fight or flight mode. And I think the same thing too about the kids when they call their mom. It's like,
oh yeah. Mom. You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember that episode on Family Guy?
Oh yeah, mama,
mommy. What?
Yeah.
Love you.
Yeah.
He runs away.
I think it's so funny. Yes, I love that. I feel like that's always in my head.
And you know the funny thing as a parent, yeah, that would kind of irritate you a little bit. Your child just mom, dad. The
Very
fun
funny.
of being a parent.
Yeah.
Let's see, what do we have next here? Ooh, this is an interesting one. Have you heard of the Queen of Kentamine?
No.
Well, basically, I guess she is well known for Hollywood elites and wealthy people supplying them drugs. In fact, recently she was just arrested in connection with the death of Matthew Perry.
Oh.
So she was arrested. An aide for Matthew Perry, that I guess he's an assistant or whatever, that literally, you know, I guess administered the drug to him. There was a couple of doctors that were arrested. And I'm sitting there looking like, wow, this is crazy. Because I'm thinking like, okay, are there going to be other people names that pop up?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy too. Like I do not do. I'm not even pretending. Like I do not take ketamine or like any like any drugs like that whatsoever. But like here, that is definitely like a very popular drug where people will take it.
Oh,
And
wow.
they test it. Like there's a big festival coming up called Burning Man. I don't know if you've ever heard of that,
Mm.
but it's kind of like hippy dippy. Like you go into the woods and you have your own community, and I think people, it's very like hippie-ish, but ketamine is like a huge drug that people will take at the festival. But it's scary because you could go into like something called a K-hole, when
Mm.
you're just get very like almost like a bad acid trip. But it's a very powerful drug. But I feel like people take it a lot here recreationally. At like I see it a lot all the time at parties. So that does not surprise me that Matthew Perry was in the mix of that, was like part of his cocktail.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame. And I mean, if they have evidence on these people and they're going to go after them, justice should be served. I just kind of wish that they would show the same urgency for the average person.
Yes, yeah. I
You
think
know,
so too. And I think also too, like, you know, always testing the drugs and is always good if people are going to take them. But I have a feeling too, these people, when they're supplying to others, they just want like more and more and they get greedy as well. And it's like I could see too where stuff falls through the cracks where they might not be, no pun intended, but they might not be testing their drugs, and that's just really scary.
oh yeah. I mean, if you think about fentanyl and other stuff like that, you know, unless you buy it on the street, that drug has to be administered by a doctor. You can't
Yeah.
just get that drug. So, the drug epidemic, I think, is a lot larger. We know it's large, but I think we'd be surprised if we got to the bottom of how these drugs are distributed and people that are really involved. Um, and the problem is that, you know, when you talk about a star like Matthew Perry and, the rich and the famous, they have money that most of us don't. So,
Yeah.
they can kind of indulge in things that the average person can't and be able to hide it very well.
I know, I know. And then it's like designer drugs and they normalize it, but then they still just have bodies like how we do, how they still have a normal human body. So it may seem like easier for them to get it and take it, but it still has the effects that it does on, every human.
That's true. I think the one thing I'm going to be looking at is if other names pop out, because if they know that she supplies this to, you know, A, B, C-list actors and
Yeah,
actresses, wealthy people, elites, you kind of wonder how many names are going to pop up.
I
It's going to be kind of
know.
interesting to see
I
who's
know.
on
I
that
bet some
list.
people are scared.
Oh, absolutely. And yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that there's going to be a lot more fallout from this. I think we haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah. Some of my friends, I'm just always like, please don't do drugs. It's not worth it. But
Hmm.
well, oh, that's so funny. Okay, I just looked at my next one, and this goes perfectly with it. Well, hopefully this doesn't affect any other celebrities, but 5 million worth of meth disguised as watermelons were found at California Customs checkpoint, which is ridiculous. So now we're basically smuggling meth in the form of watermelon, which makes me think of that TV show like Is It Cake or Not, where people are trying to guess if something is cake. Like we could do a spin-off
Yes.
called like Is It Meth, where it's just
Hmm.
so okay, a man in a tractor trailer said he was bringing a shipment of watermelons across the border, and then custom agents found more than $5 million worth of meth after examination. So a 29-year-old guy, like who knows how involved he was. Sometimes people are just the go-between. Um, and he was, oh, okay, actually, I know where this is. It was the Otay Mesa in San Diego. So basically, it's like a border between San Diego and Mexico.
Mm.
I have crossed that many times. And he said he was bringing a shipment of watermelons. Officers obviously like examined further and they found meth. They tested it and it was 4,587 pounds of meth. So, and obviously the driver was arrested. And yeah, it's just crazy to think. But then it's hilarious the way that it looks. I don't know if you could tell, but it's the most like crazy like sheen version of a watermelon.
But you know what? I have to give them an A for originality. I really do.
I do
Because I
too.
would have never thought in a million years that they would do something like that.
No, but I mean, this is a little. You know, when people try to, if like the old TV shows, someone would try to sneak into a party as like one man wearing a trench coat, but it's really like two people on top of each other. Like, I feel like that's like the same vibe as this almost.
And then, I saw something about someone tried to ship meth mixed in with celery, I think, too.
Oh, really?
So I'm like, okay, so this is the new trend now is
Yeah,
shipping in vegetables.
fruits and vegetables. Yeah, very scary, and it just and also like you don't know whether or not the driver might be someone that just like got caught up in something bad or maybe being forced to do it, so it's always good to I feel like these cartels run deep, so like I feel like they're probably just scratching the surface of it.
Yeah. The one thing that you got to wonder is how long they've been running like this,
I
because
know.
that's a hell of a coincidence that they were able to stop that truck that had that in it.
That's true. I wonder if there was some even like insider tip, but also maybe people just he drove by and it's like these don't look like regular watermelons. Like what's happening with this?
Because here's the thing: if you glance, you probably won't notice, but if you're looking kind of hard, some of those you can be like, "Whoa, that's a funny looking watermelon."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope he mixed it in with actual real watermelons because it would be smart to like put a top layer of actual watermelons and then like put the meth melons under, but
Because otherwise, there'll be some sick looking watermelons. Like, wow.
remember like a few weeks ago we talked about rubber food? Like
Yes.
so maybe now there's a whole like rubber vegetable meth craze.
Yeah. Let's just hope that none of those mystery watermelons get into the grocery store.
I know I really don't need any meth melons in my life.
Yes. Talk about not needing in your life. Now, I know you heard about Rachel Gunn, right?
Yes.
Now, I have my own personal opinion about her performance at the Olympic. Now, for anyone who has not heard of her, which would be shocking at this point,
Right.
she is the breakdancer from Australia that has a PhD in breakdancing, which I don't even know what the hell that is, but she has it, whatever, okay. And when you look at her performance, yeah.
Yeah, it was like
I don't even know why she was even there personally, because I grew up watching breakdancing, okay?
yeah.
And I want to get your opinion. What do you think?
Well, I think that was the general consensus too, because at first I was like, why is this such a big deal? She's just doing her performance, even if it was a little weird, like why are people feeling this way? But then as you said, like I researched a little bit more and more people were saying like this took up the spot of other people that are more steeped in the real arts, and like this looked a little bit ridiculous, but there was other people that kind of could have represented it better.
Yes, yes. And the thing is, I think it was a little bit disrespectful to the art because, there are some people that are really great breakdancers and it is an art and they get very creative in doing stuff. I mean, the stuff that she was doing, I could probably do much better, and I'm not a breakdancer. Okay.
Right.
I mean, this, I'm like,
Yeah.
what the hell is that? I'm like,
Yeah. And sometimes these techniques are so like tough that it does look really easy, but I don't think this falls in that category, sadly.
I don't think anything was hard about what she did.
No. So what is she? I don't even know what she's like. I do not know if she realized this and like is on board with the backlash and is like, I'm sorry, or is she just like everyone buzz off? I don't really know.
You know what? I know she did feel a certain kind of way because some people were kind of digging into it, some people were really angry about it. I mean, I kind of did expect people were going to have their opinions, strong opinions, but I was really shocked at how many people had strong opinions. I mean,
yeah,
there were a lot of angry people.
I
And
know.
there were
And
a lot
that's
of
the other
people
thing.
making some crazy jokes about it.
Yes, and I think it's people have every right to have their own opinions, but I also think this woman did not create like a crime or commit a crime, or she didn't murder someone. So
Yeah.
like I'm guessing she probably got some pretty awful hate, which I don't think in any way that's deserved whatsoever. Like it's
Yeah.
okay to state your opinion, but to like threaten someone or really go for the jugular just because you don't like their breakdancing is like that really is a first world problem.
Yeah, and the crazy thing is that they said that I guess they're removing it from the next Olympics, and I think the next Olympics is in California. I think,
Oh yeah, yeah, in LA.
which would be kind of ironic to take it away then because you know you kind of see breakdance in LA kind of goes hand in hand. So hopefully they put it back on there, but it was horrific.
Yeah.
I mean, you know me. I try to be nice. I try to
You
see
are
both
so
sides,
nice. Yeah.
but it was horrific. I mean, the little spinning on the ground and the hopping and
I
all
know.
this, and
I
it's like
know.
it's,
No one would say anything if it was like, at like some local competition or something. But when you're at the Olympics, the caliber of all the
yes,
other athletes and the training and the hours and like, dedication, people like miss childhood in high school because of how much they train for like, ice skating and all that stuff. And so I think that's another feeling behind it too, is like just to come in and do these weird things when there's other participants that have like given up basically having like a normal life because of their Olympic sport.
yeah, and I think you had a great point too. Is that even though we're laughing and cracking jokes and stuff, but she kind of took the spotlight away from someone that should have had that spot.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and the thing is, it's like again, I would love. I've tried to find this out, but I can't find it. I don't know. Maybe you have better luck. What the hell is a PhD in breakdance? I don't know what
I
the
don't
hell that
even
is.
know, like from like Florida University or something. Like I don't really know, but I think it's like imagine like the dissertation, like her final paper is like just this or that. I mean, it's super cool because I feel like breakdancing has all different types of really interesting history. So I feel like learning the history about the dance and like how different cultures have adopted it throughout the years, I think is
Mhm.
extremely interesting. Being a historian, I could see could definitely get you like a PhD, but um, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe she knows a little more about theory than she does about the actual like practice of it.
Oh yeah, and there's some real deep rooted history behind breakdancing because back in the day, when there was a beef between two groups, there was none of this fighting and shooting and all that. They literally challenged each other on a dance. You
Yeah,
know
which
what I
I think
mean?
is amazing.
And they really, I mean, they were very talented. You didn't have all the shooting and stuff, all that you see today. I mean, literally, people just, be sitting there, I'm probably dating myself a little bit, you with your boys, and you're like,
Yeah,
what's up? What's up? And then,
yeah,
they just go at it, just get on the floor, do the little thing, whatever. Everybody have fun. They shake hands, walk away. Nobody's hurt.
right.
You know,
Yeah, and I think like part of what I've seen before about breakdancing that's so amazing is the ability to like bend, snap back up, like
hmm
look so fluid. And I feel like someone kind of like puppeting around does not look like that.
I mean, the hopping thing was just like over the top. Like, wow,
I
really?
know.
I'm like, so y'all not gonna stop this? Y'all just go. And then when she started, she sat there and she just like went round and around in a circle on the floor. I'm like, wow, okay.
Yeah, that was weird. I feel like I would feel very weird if I was her. She was second in weirdness only to the amazing man that like jumped over, but then his genitals got caught on the which like I love him. I mean, he needs to be our president. I feel like whatever happened with that, like whatever country he's from, that's amazing. And like what a problem to have for like all of the world to see that basically you're packing so much heat that you're getting stuck on your machinery.
That hurts even thinking about that.
I know, but amazing. Imagine like how simultaneously embarrassing and wonderful that is to like have your genitals like getting caught in front of the whole world.
Woo!
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
that was a really good topic.
That was a good topic. Okay, my last one is super interesting. I think if anyone likes what they hear with this one, you should go on it's on BuzzFeed today. It's a prompt where people spoke up who had dated millionaires or dated or married millionaires or billionaires and they revealed what it's really like. And obviously like we won't go through all of them, but I thought it was really interesting because a lot of these people that wrote in, they came from like middle to lower class families and they weren't used to seeing this type of wealth. And some of the takeaways on both sides of the spectrum were really interesting. So for example, one person wrote in and said how stingy they were, you know, how stingy the millionaires and billionaires were, and for having so much money, they wouldn't spend it on anything. Like they penny pinched, you know, every single penny they were like mindful of. And she was amazed at how they had everything in the world and they just were like unwilling to spend everything. It's all across the board. I thought one was really interesting where someone married, their wife came from a lot of money, but like the wife actually practices a lot of giving to charity. She would like, you know everyone by name, and she's also really hardworking. So this is a person that like has all the money in the world, but basically, still gives away a lot. Mm-hmm. And then just seeing also how it works for like privilege, where it's like, when you're 18, you can get a car paid for you, and then you can save money to buy a house. And then it's like, it just snowballs and it makes everyone's life easier for generations and generations. And so, mm-hmm. That is just like a very interesting type of story to me. So, yeah, I thought it was cool.
Yeah, I took a look at a lot of those, and the common denominator about all of those, and which actually kind of backs up a lot of stuff you see on social media about the difference between poor people and rich people, is I'm not going to say a lot, but there are some people that cannot afford expensive things, but they want to look like they have money.
Yeah, like they're trying to flex.
Where people who really have money try to look poor.
Yeah.
They blend in. And like I said, I think I said this, but I'm going to go ahead and mention it again. But I remember years ago, I was at a bank, okay? And I was waiting in line. And there was a gentleman, just average size, middle-aged guy. And, remember those members only jackets?
Yeah, I love them. They're so cool.
So he had a members only jacket. Yeah. He had, kind of like generic pair of jeans. It was nice jeans, clean, generic pair of jeans. Kind of guy that you would like walk right past. You wouldn't even think twice about it. But when he got to the counter, he had told the lady at the counter, he said, I want to cash out $5 million in my CDs to finish my home. Everybody in that line, we just like stood and
really,
and we were just stunned, because again, this is the type of person you would literally walk right past them and never think about it.
Okay? Yeah.
So it's like, okay, if you're spending $5 million to finish your home, what the hell kind of home do you have?
Yeah. And did he want it in like? Were they going to give him a cashier check or like cash?
I don't know, but a manager came over, and then a few minutes later, which I don't know why it took so long, but they took him into an office.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Yeah, because I was going to say, it's like they can't just give it in front of everyone. They're like 100,000, 200,000.
But it was a great example of how literally you don't know. And most people who have money, and actually what's interesting, most people who have money look at it differently, where people that have real true money amazingly don't really talk about money. Unless they're talking about investments or giving or something specific, they don't just have open conversations about money. I noticed that in some of those comments. And the other thing that I noticed too is how, I guess a lot of people call it stingy, but I just call it just being smart. Is they're not buying all the designer stuff or going out shopping and buying all that stuff like that. Their house may be paid for. You may not know it. They may drive a regular car without a car note, but they blend right in to everyone around them.
Yep. And so basically, like, I think totally that people also talk more about like, I read really something interesting, that like very wealthy people talk more about, they gossip less than like middle and lower class people. Like so much of what I'm considering myself like definitely into like pedestrian plebeian category, like what we talk about a lot of times is like gossiping about celebrity, which is so funny because that's what you and I do for a living. But like, like when we have free time, we talk less and less about like ideas or art or bigger business connections and more about like this person, that person, you know. And I think they say that very, very, very well. If you talk more about like philosophy and like international travel and like kind of bigger, wider subjects, and that's something that like we all could do for free and just up level kind of our conversation with friends a little bit too. You know, just talking more about like movies, art, and like things that move us rather than just gossip about each other.
Oh yeah, I think one of the things that I think everyone can learn from them, and I think this is important. I live my life like this too, and it's a shame it took me, well into my adulthood to figure this out. But you have to take risk in life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
every successful person has taken many risks. Every successful person has failed. That is a part of the process.
Right. Yeah. Very much
Um,
so. And I
I
feel like the very wealthy aren't afraid to fail. They just see it as part of the journey.
Exactly, exactly. I remember Mark Cuban. He was interviewed. I want to say on Good Morning America, and I remember him saying, "You will be shocked to know how many times I failed before I really hit it big." And most people don't understand. You can fail as many times as you want. You only need to be successful one time.
Yeah. Yeah. And even in failing, like you can meet some people that can help you down the road that you may not even know about, or like
Oh yeah, I mean, one thing about it to me, it's really not failure. I think it's part of the journey, and you're picking up things along the way. And sometimes that failure kind of humbles you and prepares you for bigger and greater things because now you're like, all right, I'm going to go back at this again. But you know what? I got a whole new perspective on how I should do this and what I should be looking for now.
yeah. Yeah. That was just I just was part I was lucky enough to go to a lot of comedy entertainment panels, and a lot of them were like big managers in LA that were repping like Adam Sandler and all these kind of people. And it was so interesting the takeaways where they were like, don't, if someone says no, that doesn't mean no forever. It just means no, not right now. And like, don't pester them, don't be annoying, but just like check in every couple of years or months and just, like
Mm-hmm.
make yourself known, but also work hard. And you never know when things are going to change. And one was giving an example of like, someone reconnected with a casting person 17 years later. Like 17 years
Wow.
went by and it was a no for now, and then 17 years later that person was finally in a spot where it became a yes to work together. So it's like, talk about the long game here, but I think that's super cool.
Oh yeah. And the thing is that when someone says no, I totally agree with that. It doesn't mean no forever. It may not, it may be no at that particular time. And sometimes that no is there to protect you because if you're trying to align yourself, a great example, if you're trying to do a play or a movie or something, and you're trying to get a script writer for your script, well, there's a lot of script writers out there, but if you don't align yourself with the right script writer, for example, if you're doing a drama and this script writer specializes in horror,
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do very well for your project.
Yes, yes. Exactly. And it's like I always take those things as like what is in my path now is what I'm like. I mean, it sounds so stupid, but I'm like a match for,
Mm-hmm.
energetically. And if I saw something and I'm not part of it, then like I'm just not a match right now. It's not right for me. Like it would be happening to me if it was right for me. And so I
Mm.
believe that. I feel like when you start seeing it that way, it becomes like less and less. It's kind of like who cares? It's like not that big of a deal.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, that was actually a pretty good article, though. Very good
Yeah.
article.
Yep. So and that's on BuzzFeed if anyone wants to read more about it.
Well, I'm gonna squeeze this last one in.
Squeeze it
Um,
like a watermelon, like a meth melon.
there is going to be a new documentary coming out, and it's actually about Gary Coleman. Um,
Mm.
it's still kind of a mystery, because there's speculation that
Hmm.
it wasn't an accident, the way he died.
Totally.
But I kind of feel sorry for him because he was in that era where he did so well on TV that it hurt his career in the
I
long game
know. Yeah.
because he actually did try and get other parts, but pretty much casting directors and producers, they only saw him as, being Arnold on different strokes,
Yes.
which I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
is so unfair.
Yes. I think it really, really did pigeonhole him a lot. What did they say? they said his death was an accident, but I don't even know what they said the accident was. Do you?
Well, from his I guess girlfriend, because he was married to this woman, then they divorced, but then they were seeing each other again. I don't know, maybe she was living there. It was kind of a weird relationship, to be honest with you.
Really?
And supposedly, she said that he tripped down the stairs because she's the one that called called 911. He tripped down the stairs, hit his head, and there's blood everywhere. So that's the story that she said. There's some people saying that, well, that kind of doesn't make sense because 2 days ago, he was doing fine. He had just
Yeah.
got out the hospital, so he was walking with a crutch and with a cane and stuff. But he's like, "Hey, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm not dying. I'm this. I'm okay, whatever." And then this mystery accident. And accidents can't happen.
Yeah.
But between being pigeonholed, having his parents steal his money, and all the things that he's been through, and then plus his health issues, he had a very rough life.
Yeah, yeah, very sad. And it's like, and like you said, you almost become too big in the one role that you don't get to expand as an actor and try other things. And then I bet when he went out in public, everyone was like saying the character name instead of actually him, and you just get to be thought of as like that person.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, on the one hand, it's a good thing. And one thing I did not know at the time was, at that time, he was the one of the highest paid child actors on TV at the time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Hopefully it like, he was able to actually make it work for him and save. I feel like a lot of child actors got denied their funds because of, bad management or like bad deals or anything.
Well, his got eaten up by his parents.
Oh,
Remember, I don't know if you know this or not, but he took his parents to court.
oh yes, I remember hearing about that. Yeah, that is such a sad life.
I don't know. I mean, I couldn't do that to my child. I mean, that's just
No,
to me,
never.
you like the scum of the earth. Why are you stealing from your kid? Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. No, that's so greedy. And I feel like they have to have protection of like people cutting in too much. And there always seems to be like one parent where like the dad is kind of like a deadbeat dad and starts taking from their kid a little bit, or sometimes it's both parents, but
Yeah, I mean, that's why they have rules in place now where for minors, a certain percentage has to go into a trust account
oh
that
yeah,
only the child can get after they turn, I think, either 18 or 21.
I've heard of
That's where
that.
those laws came from now.
Yeah. What's the thing when you like are young but you kind of like divorce yourself from your parents? Not estranged, but what's it called?
I think it's like emancipation from your.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like, 'cause I feel like a lot of times they'll do that if it's so bad, and they could get. I think a lot of stars have done that too, of like
Mhm.
gone out on their own even before they're 18.
Yeah, I mean, again, I if you're managing them, okay, I can see paying yourself a manager's salary. A manager's salary is not 50% of what they make. So
Right, right. No, no, definitely not. It's like welcome to earning like 60 grand a year. Yeah, yeah,
exactly, but I don't know. I mean, to me, you just like the scum of the earth to steal from your own kid, though.
yeah. And like,
But
how greedy can you be? Because it's like once the kid is set up, for their future, then buy yourself a nice house, a normal house, not like a mansion, and then keep the
mhm,
rest. Like, don't be a freak.
yeah, and unfortunately for a lot of these young kid actors, um, most of the time they are the breadwinner in the house.
Yeah.
That's the sad part.
I wonder what happened with Lindsay Lohan. I feel like that was kind of a
Yeah,
similar thing where remember like her mom and her sister and the parents were like acting a fool and getting divorced and stuff. And so yeah.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I know things have definitely changed over time.
Yeah. Now it all comes full circle. We're back to legal with J Lo and Ben Affleck.
That is so true, so true. This was a great day.
This was fun.
Well, Meryl, what do you have coming up?
Oh my gosh, I have a really fun show tomorrow at a place called Flappers in Burbank. And
Oh,
I'm very excited because I'm back to doing tomorrow is an all woman show. As much as I love men, like doing doing an all woman comedy show is like very fun. Like I have, it's always like a little bit more fun than the other shows.
nice.
So I'm back with some ladies, and that's super cool. And then just hanging out.
Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice. Well, I've been working behind the scenes,
I
putting
know.
together stuff for the cooking show. So I will be taping really soon for that to get that on board.
I cannot wait. I really have all these requests like mac and cheese, chicken thighs.
Oh, wow. Those are actually things that's going to be on the first shows too.
Really?
Yeah.
And I'll just, in case it's live, this can help anyone else. But okay, tomorrow I have to bring chicken thighs for a barbecue, like a barbecue. What do you have any advice on like what my marinade should be, or like should I just buy barbecue sauce, or is there something that goes really good with chicken when you're grilling it?
Now, so that's what I was going to ask you. So you're grilling it, right?
Yeah, it's like an outdoor grill.
Okay, I use this season. I'm giving away a little secrets here.
Yeah, tell us your secrets here.
One of my main seasoning I use is called Slap Your Mama.
Oh, I've heard of that. I've heard of that.
And the reason I like it is it seasons it really nice and it gives it like more of a Cajun kick to it. It's not like overly spicy. So I would use that, some garlic powder.
Okay.
And then this other seasoning is called Weber Kickin' Chicken. The only place I think I've seen it was at Costco's, but it may be other places too. And I'll generally use those three. Now, before I do that, I'll get my my Worcestershire sauce.
Ooh, I love that sauce.
And I put that on first. Then I'll put my seasoning on, turn it over, put the seasoning on. And what you want to do is you want to coat it lightly. You don't want to overdo it.
Okay.
And then when you do it, put it on skin side up first, and then after, depending on your grill, maybe like 5 to 8 minutes or whatever, turn it, and keep doing that for probably about. I like my meat well done, so it's probably like between 30 or 40 minutes, depending on your grill. If you use
really,
any
that's
gas
a long
grill,
time.
because I like to cook it slow and
okay,
easy.
okay.
I'll have it on like real low.
Okay. So we're four impatient white girls, so we'll probably be messing it up and cooking it in like 3 minutes with like A1 steak sauce or something. But that helps. See, I'm gonna put the Slap Your Mama and the other ones on all my friends are gonna be like, it's gonna be really good.
The funny thing is, my wife first told me about it. Yeah, I got some Slap Your Mama. I said, what you want to do to my mama? She's like, no, it's a seasoning. I was like, oh, okay. I've been using it for years now, but yeah, it was kind of funny. Like, what you want to do with my mama?
Yeah, I've seen that on TikTok a whole bunch. That was on my list to get. So, okay, well, that's helpful. See, that's way better than just getting like a can of barbecue sauce and pouring it on.
Yeah, you can still put the barbecue sauce on when it's done, but yeah, you definitely want to season it.
Okay, this is none of my girlfriends are probably going to hear this, but it's like so funny listening to this kind of barbecue because they're like, let's bring some flavored seltzer water, and I'm like, shut up, you idiots! Like, we need potato salad, we need chicken thighs. Like, don't be a weirdo.
Hey, you got to let me know how that turned out.
I will. I definitely will. And and half of everyone is vegan, and so I'm like, I need actual like meat there. I can't have like lentil burgers.
Well, everyone, thank you for watching. We had a great time. You enjoy the rest of your day. I'm Lawrence.
And I'm Meryl.
Take care, everyone. Bye.
Bye.